This is Varian. A while back, I made a video when this car first came in here. The complaint was, oh, by the way, this is a 2004 Nissan Altima with a 3.5 liter V6 engine. I made a video of this thing trying to figure out how to get this timing cover off. This thing. And I filmed it and I said, if anybody knew how to get it off. Well, I never got anybody to tell me how to get it off, so I figured it out. And I saw a guy take one off inside of the car, which was, wow. Okay, where we're at. This engine came in because the timing chain was making noise. The water pump right there was leaking coolant into the engine oil. And this chain guide right here, which should be here, slid down to here, and then here's the tensioner, and the tensioner is supposed to push it here, and this tension slid down, so the tension came all the way out here, and the chain was loose and making a bunch of racket. Well, you got a guide there, and you have a guide up there, and you have another guide right there. You have another guide right there. And you have another guide right there. These guides, they wear. You can almost look in here and see the wear on these guides. Well, the replacement guides are a better quality. But that's that and the tension giving up is what presented all that noise. The reason I had trouble getting this timing cover off was right here. I don't know why Nissan did this. Somebody in the Nissan engineers need to be, well, I'm not going to tell you what I think they should be done. Anyway, here's the deal. On the bottom of this timing cover, there's two bolts. That one and that one. And you got dowel pins here. And now, there, two dowel pins. Now here's the engine pan girdle, okay? There's the engine pan, thermostat. Thermostat's kind of strange too because it's got these, it's kind of like a weird screw of some sort. You got snap C-clip or circlip. You got these sub-tapping screws that go in to mount this thermostat. And it looks like this to give you some idea what that looks like. Okay, now on this particular car, this engine right here came in this 04 Altima. And it's got about 100,000 miles on it. The car's in nice shape, actually. Well, the customer that brought it in, I didn't ever talk to him, the shop talked to him. What they said was they had a complaint with a noisy timing chain. And so I looked at it and I found there was coolant in the oil and it was smoking. We changed the oil, the timing chain got quieter, the smoke went away. And I said, well, you're going to put an engine in this car. So he drove off with it. And he came back If you look at that, that's where that timing chain noise comes from. This strap here is just pick the engine up, but this, when the chains are loose like that, that's where you get that noise. You know, cam here, cam here, cam here, and cam here. Now, just for mechanics, to take and change this tensioner, that one, you have to remove that bolt and that bolt. And up on top, there's 4 more bolts to support that cam bearing. And the same over on this side. Bolt there. And a bolt right back there. Right there. Those are the bolts you have to take out before you can change those tensioners and guides. That's the biggest tensioner right there. And then the time is really simple. Well, I don't use that word simple, but what it boils down to is you got a mark right there. And another mark up there. One there. That one right there. This one. That one. The other one. It's right there. You line all those marks up, and then this one down here. Right? That lines up this mark over here. When this and all those other ones are lined up, the engine's in time. Now you got to make sure these chains, when you put a new chain, I recommend putting chains in these because they're very labor intensive. As you can see, you got 20 bolts all around to put that cover on. And you got the reason I had trouble with that cover is because I didn't know there's 2 bolts inside, underneath the pan to get to those bolts. Oh, while I'm sitting here, this is the catalytic converter next to the firewall. As you can see, look at his 2 studs. That one and that one. That you have to get from the top. And at the top to get to them is this thing. Like well, in the car, when it was in the car, okay, here's the firewall, here's the manifold, this is on top of the exhaust manifold in the car. The oxygen sensor goes through that hole on the manifold. I don't know if you can see it. You get the camera right here. Let me give you guys a headache trying to get this information to you. Okay, right? Okay, I guess you can see it right there. Anyway, under that cover would be the exhaust manifold. Let me get this camera right. There we go. Okay, underneath that, okay, this is the cat. That's the cover. Underneath that cover would be the exhaust manifold. Here's the oxygen sensor, and there's one up there. Here's the other one. This is the oxygen sensor. I mean, this is the exhaust this is the catalytic converter closest to the radiator. As you can see, this catalytic converter was eaten up. Looks like, I think this was done by antifreeze or coolant. Anyway, that's all that's left of what was in that canister right there. One here, one there. And you got another one here. This is the one that connects the 2 manifolds from the engine and come down in this catalytic converter. And when I fired this engine up, it had no horsepower. I said, what the world? Well, I knew I did everything right on the engine, so I disconnected it right here. I took those two pipes off, or just disconnected them. Fired the engine up, turned the engine up about 6,000 RPM, dumped the clutch. This is a stick, by the way. It boiled the tires through here about 10 feet. I didn't know front-wheel drive cars would do that, but this one did. So I know my engine's right. The engine runs great. It's very labor intensive. I'm going to show you what this thing looks like and get everything all put together here. Hang on a minute. Okay, I'm back again. I'm trying not to shake too much so I can get this information to you. Okay, this car came in here with a manual transmission. Hope I'm not shaking too much, but anybody working on one of these cars, I hope this will help you out, because I'm going to tell you, I went through a nightmare, and I even went to dealers and they couldn't tell me what the heck I was trying to get information about. This thing right here, that's a girdle. That's what I call a girdle. This is the pan. This is where, let's see, get this right. You take that pan off, you get to those two bolts to get that timing cover off. Anyway, I gotta get this thing right here. When you get in here, okay, there you can see the other exhaust manifold. That's next to the firewall. And you can see there's two bolts coming down here, there and there. And those other two go up, two come down. Now, if you take them off in here and you snap one, you're gonna get this manifold off anyway. That means I couldn't get it out without, well, I already took these engine mounts loose here, and I couldn't get it out of there. The only way I was gonna be able to get it out of there was to be able to, I have to be a multitasker here. The only way I was going to be able to get that exhaust manifold on that side out was to take 1, 2, 3, 4 engine mounts, pick the engine up, which means I may be able to pick it up far enough without taking the axles loose, because that manifold is clear to come out of there. So when I say labor intensive, that's what you're faced with. Now, when I get back over to the front, here's the front one. I'm just going to be able to see this stuff. Eventually, when I get better at this, I'm filming this thing with my cell phone. I hope this doesn't make too many people nervous or give them a headache watching me wiggle all over the place to get this information out, but I wish I had somebody who could do this for me when I was dealing with this, because this is the first time I ever worked on one of these Nissans. The other thing I ran into was, I don't know if I get a good picture of this thing here. And you're going to run into it too. On this one with the this different engine had this. Let's see if I get it right. Okay, right there is where the oil filter is, and there's a water runs through that mounting device. I call it a dingbat design, but water runs through there. And on this other engine, we're in two different positions. This one comes here. this one comes here. Sorry for the air, but we're doing multitasking around here. This is where the oil comes. It goes through this device here, comes out here. This is water in these hoses. Oil goes in. That's where the filter mounts. But this thing has got two different positions. The one that's on the car is here, and the tube comes out straight. This one's got a curve to it. You can't get the hose on. I hope I'm not getting too screwed up with this thing here. Now, when I changed this girdle, the car that came with the standard transmission had the girdle was in the car. I had to change from this engine. This is the girdle of the car. The engine that came in here with the automatic transmission. This engine here, that came out of the car, had a standard transmission for it. That's what's in the car now. The customer bought another engine because this one here's got bent valves in it because he kept driving it until the timing chain jumped. And so he didn't want to rebuild the engine, so he got a used one and brought that one. And then when it brought it in, it had the same problem as this one, except that the water pump hadn't been leaking. But the chains were making a bunch of racket. So I pulled it out and I changed it, and I couldn't get the crank triggering device position. There was no place to mount it up. This is a transmission from the automatic. The one that's in the car is for a stick, and this area right here is different. And that's where you get into this thing where, right, and that area up there is where the crank triggering device is mounted. Right? There. That thing. There's no mount for that on that other girdle. So the girdle here has an opening. The other one does not have an opening. That's a little subtle thing that if you didn't see it and you find out like I did, you get a chance to do what I did. When I changed this thing, I forgot left the dipstick in it. And the dipstick came out looking like you got caught. Right? I can't get to it. Where is it at? Oh, right there. And you see what it did to that dipstick. You can't see it. There it is. Well, when that happened, I fired the engine up and had an oil leak. I mean, I had to come back, dump the oil, drop this thing again, re-put the glue in there, put it back up there. And it's got a whole bunch of bolts in here to put it up there with. And the oil leak went away. Now, I don't recommend using the blue stuff because the blue stuff, in my opinion, doesn't seal very well. It does a good job. And the aluminum engines are sealed, machined really well. But it's different than having an engine that has gaskets in it. So any hiccup or any kind of little opening, it'll leak oil. That's what happened when I put that pan up. I put it up there and it had a big drip. Even though I had all the good glue in there, it still dripped. I had to take it down, put a fresh seal of glue in there, and then it's not leaking now. So you guys working on these things, I don't recommend trying to do this in a car. Because you're going to really pull your hair out. Even on this side here, I didn't try taking the exhaust manifold off. And when I did I pulled it off because I was going to try to get this canister off here, and it wouldn't clear anything here. So I would have had to leave the engine off the mounts to get that to come out of there. No, I'm not in a good picture for you. Right, like that. Wouldn't clear it. Wouldn't clear the frame. Oh, another thing, let me bring to your attention. If you get into everything, what happened? This car came with a stick. The customer bought the engine with an automatic transmission mounted. It came with an automatic transmission, but had to change. This was a change. Well, I hope I'm not getting too far ahead, making a bunch of mess of this thing here. But um, the let's see this. It, oh, let me back up here a little bit. Oh, okay. Anyway, don't if this customer comes in with a car and you got timing chain noise, and you got a coolant leak, and the car is in fair shape or not very fair, you might want to tell them to take it to pick and pull because the amount of time and labor, you may not want to pay for that. This is the same engine they're using in the 2016 car. That one right there. Nissan Altima. And as you can see, this is an '04 car. Not much different. So, hold on a minute. Okay, now I let the car down and give me an idea. This is the firewall side of the engine. We're talking about that '04 Nissan Altima. And this is the way you're going to have to get down here to access this exhaust manifold. And there's where the bolts are mounted. That's where the oxygen sensor goes, right? Damn, I can't even see. Right down in that hole down there is where the oxygen sensor goes. There's that cover that goes over that. And you got this shielding over here in the front. It makes it really hard to get to it. I had to take this side of the exhaust, the intake manifold apart, and I just rolled it over and laid it over here. And didn't really help much, but to get this, to get access to this side of the engine made it pretty easy when you take this stuff off here. It's like here I'll walk over here and show you what it looks like. I don't know if anybody's ever filmed something like this before, but you guys are working on one of these things. If this helps you out, it'll probably save you lots of guesswork. Let's see. I'm walking around the front of this engine. You can see what's all the stuff I had to deal with. I had to remove the battery tray, all this stuff. Just to get down in here. This is the other side of the engine. This is where the exhaust man. You can't even start these. Anyway, I'm not gonna turn the lights on because just give you some idea what's going on down here. I know a lot of times I've seen people with these things on YouTube, and I could have seen something like this. It would sure help me assemble one of these engines where you could put it back together and get rid of all the guesswork. And that really hurts when you have to guess around and depend on YouTube and the shop manuals and all the other ones that they give you that don't work. Don't have the right information, guesswork, and innovation. Remember that word, innovation. That gives you an idea of what you're faced with over here. When you get down in these areas here, you can't see with all that stuff on there because it's all covered up. Okay, now I'm gonna go over here to this where I had these pieces over here. Hold on just a minute. These pieces here, right here, those are below the windshield. And when you take those out, there's only about, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 screws there, about 5 over there. Just pick that stuff up, pull the windshield wipers off, then get down into the area where this will get rid of all the pain in the neck stuff. So, just remember, when you get one of these cars in your shop, inform the customer You got about 100,000 miles on it. You got a timing chain making noise, and the water pumps making leaking. And you can imagine taking this timing cover off in the car, like right down there. Like I saw one guy, I think his name is Mitchell or something like that, and he was making those good words. You know what I'm saying? um, took him some time to get it off. Yeah, it probably took him some time to find out where those bolts were in the bottom of that timing cover. But I never did hear anything back from him when he put it all back together to see if it didn't leak or if it ran properly. Anyway, this is very, and I hope you have good luck.